Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that your entire life has changed. Not because you became richer, not because you became smarter, but because the way society sees you has changed. The same face, the same body, the same mind. But suddenly, people treat you differently. Doors open faster. Conversations become quieter when you enter the room. Strangers remember your name. And eventually, at the highest levels, people stop asking what you want. They start asking what you can do for them. Social status is invisible. You cannot hold it. You cannot measure it with a ruler, but it can determine where you live, who you meet, what opportunities reach you, and how seriously people take your words. In this video, we will follow one person's life through every major level of social status, from being completely invisible to becoming someone the entire world is forced to notice. Level 1 is social invisibility. You are not hated. You are not feared. You are simply unnoticed. You go to work. You buy groceries. You walk through the city, and almost nobody remembers you. You could disappear from a room, and the room would continue exactly as before. At this level, your biggest advantage is freedom. Nobody is watching you. Nobody expects anything from you. You can fail without becoming a public story. You can change your career, move to another city, start over. Your mistakes belong almost entirely to you, but the downside is just as powerful. Opportunities rarely search for you. You have to find them yourself. When you speak, people may listen, but they usually have no reason to remember what you said. You are free, but you are also almost completely replaceable. At level 2, people begin to recognize you. Maybe you are good at something. Maybe you are the funniest person in your friend group. Maybe you are known at your school, workplace, or local community. You are no longer completely invisible. When you enter a room, someone might say, "Hey, I know you." This is the first level where your reputation begins to exist outside your own mind. Your name starts carrying information. People may think you are reliable, talented, or simply someone who is always there. This level feels comfortable. You have connections. You are remembered, but your influence is still limited. If you disappear, people will notice, but the world will not change. Level 3 is where your network becomes more valuable than your name. You know people, and more importantly, you know people who know other people. You can call someone who can solve a problem. You know where to find an opportunity. You know who is hiring, who is investing, who is looking for talent. Two people with identical skills can have completely different lives. One waits for an opportunity. The other hears about it before it becomes public information, arrives earlier. And in many situations, early information is more valuable than intelligence. At level 4, people don't just know you. They respect you. You have built something. A career, a reputation, a skill, a business. Maybe you are the best person in a small field. Maybe you are the person everyone asks for advice. Your opinion begins to have weight. When you speak, people don't simply hear a sound. They evaluate the person behind the words. This is where social status begins to affect how your mistakes are interpreted. If an unknown person fails, people may assume they were incompetent. If a respected person fails, people often assume there must be a reason. The same mistake, different social value, but respect creates pressure. Once people believe you are competent, you must constantly prove them right. Level 5 is influence. You no longer need to be in the room to change what happens inside it. You can send message, make a call, publish an idea, and other people move. Influence is different from popularity. A popular person may be watched. An influential person is listened to. One person can have millions of followers and almost no real power. Another can have a small audience and change decisions worth millions. At this level, your attention becomes valuable. People want access to your time, your opinion, your support, and suddenly, saying nothing can become a decision. At level 6, people know your face before they know your name. You are famous. A normal trip to the store becomes a public event. A bad day can become a photograph. A private argument can become entertainment for millions. Fame creates a strange transformation. There is the person you believe you are. And there is the person the public believes you are. Sometimes those two people are completely different. The public may love a version of you that does not exist, or hate a version of you that you barely recognize. Fame gives you attention. But attention is not the same as control. Millions of people can know you, and you may still feel completely unknown. Level 7 is the elite. This is where you stop simply participating in systems. You begin to influence the systems themselves. You are invited to rooms most people never hear about. Private meetings, exclusive events, closed networks. The most important advantage is not luxury. It is access. Access to information, access to decision makers, access to opportunities before the public knows they exist. The higher you go, the harder it becomes to know whether people like you or simply like being close to what you have. Level 8 is power. Power is different from fame. A famous person can be ignored. A powerful person cannot be ignored so easily. Your decisions affect other people's jobs, their investments, their futures, sometimes entire communities. You may never appear on television. You may never become a household name. But when you speak, important people listen. A 15-minute meeting can change an entire organization. One decision can create thousands of winners or thousands of losers. And after enough time, people may stop saying no. Eventually, you may forget what an honest no sounds like. Level 9 is where your identity becomes connected to an entire country. You are no longer just a person. You are a symbol. People support you. People oppose you. People build entire opinions around you. Every sentence can be analyzed. Every mistake can be replayed. Your private life becomes part of a public story. Millions of people may have an opinion about you without ever meeting you. You can be surrounded by millions of people and still be known by none of them personally. Level 10 is global recognition. Your name crosses borders. Your image is understood in countries where you do not speak the language. You can land in a city thousands of miles away, and people already know who you are. Your words can become headlines around the world. But the higher your visibility becomes, the less privacy remains. A normal human moment becomes content. A mistake becomes a headline. A relationship becomes a public debate. The world begins to treat your life as a story, and stories belong to the audience almost as much as they belong to the person living them. Level 11 is where your influence no longer depends entirely on your presence. You have built something larger than yourself. An organization, a company, a movement, a system. Even if you disappear for a year, your influence continues. People work under structures you created. Decisions are made because of rules you established. Ideas you introduced become normal. You are no longer simply a person with influence. You have become a source of influence. Your name may disappear, but the things you changed may continue. And then there is the highest level, the level where social status becomes almost impossible to separate from power itself. You are not simply famous. You are not simply rich. You are not simply influential. You are part of the architecture of the world around you. People study your decisions. Governments watch your movements. Businesses react to your choices. Millions of people may never meet you, but their lives may still be affected by what you do. At the bottom, nobody notices you. At the top, everyone notices you, but almost nobody can truly reach you. You are surrounded by people, advisors, employees, security, friends, partners. And yet, the higher you rise, the more difficult it becomes to know who is speaking to the human being and who is speaking to the position. But here is the strange part. Social status does not simply increase as you climb. Some things get better. Some things get worse. At the bottom, you may have freedom. In the middle, you may have respect. Higher up, you may have influence. At the top, you may have power. But every level comes with a different kind of prison. The invisible person is trapped by being ignored. The respected person is trapped by expectations. The famous person is trapped by attention. The powerful person is trapped by responsibility. And the person at the very top may be trapped by the impossibility of knowing who they really are without the status. Because eventually, the most important question is not, how high can you climb? It is, who are you when nobody is watching? Because status is temporary, fame disappears. Money changes hands. Power moves from one person to another. Even the most famous names in history eventually become words in a textbook. So perhaps the real goal is not to become the most important person in the room. Perhaps it is to become someone who still knows who they are even after leaving the room. Because at the end of the hierarchy, everyone is still just a human being. And the higher you climb, the easier it becomes to forget that.